Hello listeners, my name is Charles Scott. The program in which you're about to listen to is called Can We Talk? I am here with my son, Charles Scott
Jr. How you guys doing today?
And Charles Scott Sr. The program is informative. We give you information pertaining to what's happening within the area, what's happening within the state, what's happening also on a national basis, and some of the things that might affect your life and make decisions that you are going to be making pertaining to real estate or some things within the area as far as development, a little bit better and a little bit more educational. This is an educational channel where we strive to put out as much information as we possibly can. And what do you say to that?
Oh, exactly. We're here to help the people, give you more information weekly, Mondays. And basically, we're here to help people, find their first house.
One of the things that we try to talk about is from week to week some of the changes that occur. There's so many changes that are going on.
A lot of changes.
And we try to give you, there's the weekly, nightly news. Well, we're sort of the weekly news pertaining to some of the things that are going on. And, years ago we had to say, well, okay, what are we going to talk about today? Or what are we going to talk about that's going on? Right now, there's an abundance of subjects that are going on. So as far as you say material, there's a lot of material and a lot of things that need to be put out there. One of the things that's happened in our industry or in the real estate industry has been the rising interest rates.
Correct.
Do you agree?
Yes, with interest rates, you see, as you know, weekly, we always say interest rates are going up, but it's true. I just checked the article this morning. They're saying that the Fed is going to increase the interest rate again this year. They said maybe possibly 5 times, but that's affecting the commercial banks who are in the middle. You see, the commercial banks are in the middle between, I would say, the consumer and the Fed. The Fed loans the money to the bank loans the money to you. Right now, they're saying that may approach 5% for the average consumer. And what that does is it makes your buying power a lot less.
Not only that, it puts a lot more pressure on people to get out there and do something. In the industry, whether it be real estate, no matter what it may be, everything is supply and demand. When you have a storm coming and you have a grocery store and the storm is coming, there's a huge demand. Everyone runs in and they clean the shelves out. And then you have the government stepping in and saying, well, you can't be, what they call it, price gouging.
Yes.
We have that going on right now with the gas. Look what's happening with the gas, the gasoline. Since we last spoke, what was it? The government has opened up the oil reserves, right?
Every day right now. They believe the United States is dipping into the oil reserves, which they don't normally do. Those are reserves for emergency situations. As you can see, this is an emergency situation with the gas approaching $5 in Connecticut right now. And throughout the United States, Los Angeles, $6, $7. They're releasing the gas and they're making it more affordable.
As we said, mainly what affects everything is supply and demand. Supply and demand is like the physics of economics. As the demand diminishes and as the demand goes up and the supply diminishes, prices usually go up. That's usually what happens. So what do you do to alleviate that is you bring out, more supplies, more gasoline, so that you can actually put more out there and the price should come down. That's one of the theories. So how does that affect real estate? Well, it affects us a lot also because, one of the things is that people don't want to travel anymore. If you go back years ago, you had everybody wanted to live in the suburbs. Remember, they want to live in the country, way out in the suburbs, have a house way out there, so that they can enjoy the birds and the trees. And the cost of gasoline was like $1.50, $2 a gallon.
Miss those days.
Now, how does that affect you in your life? Everybody now wants to move into the city. You have a lot of people want to move into the city.
The city's very sought after. As you see in Bridgeport, the Holiday Inn, they're converting that into livable apartments,
Right. And everything is, and in every city, all your cities now are sort of flourishing because you have a lot of people moving back into the city. You have your entertainment there. You have your arenas there. You have nightlife, restaurants, all of the different things that people want, grocery stores. So I know, like, it surprised me. We took a trip up to New York, remember? about 6 months ago, just to scope out the territory, look around, you know, get some different landscape, find out what do other cities look like. And we were surprised because the supermarket was in a high-rise apartment building.
That. All their customers are, you know, that's a retained audience. Everyone lives above the store.
That's it. And if you come into the downtown area and you're looking for we're used to looking for a big shopping plaza with a lot of cars and you know, everybody walking around. In New York City, you know, you pulled into the parking lot, you had underground parking, and you go into this office, looks like an office building,
isn't it?
And in the office building you have a big supermarket.
It's a whole grocery store.
Like a regular Stop and Shop or whatnot. It's inside, but it's camouflaged inside. Because we rode around and around and looked in a circle, looking and looking because we wanted to get some real estate publications, and we said,
oh, that's the grocery store. It looks like a regular skyrise, you know?
Right.
High-rise building.
Because usually in your grocery stores, you have them going in and coming out. And we had the GPS on.
Yep.
And we kept going around in a circle, around in a circle. Where's the grocery store? Where's the grocery store? There's nothing but office buildings. And then we finally went parked in the parking lot, and we saw people coming and going.
There's bags and like,
bags. He said, this office building, you go inside, here's a huge grocery store.
Yes.
So see, and this is in the center of downtown. So these are some of the coming things, and this is what's happening because things are changing as far as designers build buildings.
Yes.
The other thing is that zoning is changing. Zoning is changing to accommodate the new type of real estate buyer and the new type of demographics within a city. One of the things that we in the past have had people looking for are what? Churches, right?
Yes, churches.
They're looking for churches so that their congregation has expanded. They want more space, and they want to open up a larger church. But our biggest problem has always been parking.
Parking, yes. You see, if a church, you need a certain amount of parking, and basically every city has their own rules. And what did we find out a couple weeks ago? With Bridgeport, they've actually changed that. Right now, you can have a church, and it doesn't really matter how much space you have utilized for parking.
Right, and that's a big game changer for a lot of the commercial businesses, because in the past, if you had a takeout restaurant, for example, you have to have so many parking spaces right there. The car's got to pull up and take out. If you wanted a sit-in restaurant, then you'd have to have more additional parking spaces because you're tying those spaces up for a certain amount of time.
Exactly.
And with most churches, you need at least one parking space for every 3 people sitting in the church. So if you have 30 people, then you need 10 parking spaces. And then it goes on and on and on. So now they're changing the rules to eliminate the amount of required parking spaces. So that opens up a lot of buildings that you can now lease or rent out or purchase without incurring that particular problem.
Exactly.
Because that could be a large name changer. If you buy a building and now all of a sudden you cannot get the zoning approved, then there goes your money down the drain. So if anything, I say look in the newspaper, there's always an issue on zoning.
Yes.
Zoning. That's another thing I want to mention today. If you are looking to open up a business, do your due diligence. How many times do we have people want us to look for a spot or call you looking for something, and then what do you run into?
Oh, they haven't done their due diligence. They come in and say, I want to open up this particular business, and we ask them for a business plan or what the first step is. And the thing is, they put in their mind, I'm going to find a building and then start the business. Well, you should actually be on your way to forming the business before you even look for the building. I know what you need for your permits, what zoning you would have to require for the building. You come to us, you want to make sure you have a business plan in progress.
Exactly. We have some people that are look for example, a daycare. And when you're dealing with a daycare, you've got to deal with getting your permits. You got to get your permits for the city, and you got to get your state permits permits from the health department, zoning, building department. So it's not a matter of you just find a building and then just say, okay, put your sign out,
I'm in business.
bring your children to me.
Right.
You know, they're concerned about how many steps the child has to go up and down. They're concerned
pipes.
with the pipes, the water system. Remember we were looking into
Yes,
that?
very technical.
The backyard, playground area. You just can't keep the children cooped up inside the building forever for 5, 6, 7 hours. So you got to have a playground in the back, your exits, the size of your doors in case of a fire. There's a whole wealth of requirements.
Yes.
And this is true of, like, you know, most of the businesses. Maybe you want to open up a restaurant. If you want to open up a restaurant, suppose you're just doing grinders. Well, if you're just doing grinders, then there's no fires involved. You're just going to put the, you know, lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, whatever it may be on the grinder. Nothing's going to catch on fire. So therefore, that's a pretty simple system. But now let's say you're going to start flipping cheeseburgers.
Yeah, remember, we've ran into that before. When you start to cook food, you have a whole new slew of regulations you have to follow. You have to get a range. You have to have proper ventilation because you're cooking. You're making smoke, which can then, you know, cause fires. So we have to be safe. And then the health department has a whole book of rules for that.
So mainly, what I'm telling you out there is that many people, and a lot of people, because of the pandemic, decided to go into business.
Yes, a lot of entrepreneurs.
Couldn't find a job, hey, I'm going into my own business.
Hire yourself.
Hire myself, and I'm going to make $1 million, and I'm going to be my own boss. I don't have to worry about the boss. I come to work when I feel like it and all of those different things.
Yep.
But there's also rules and regulations, even if you're not buying the building and you're renting the building, that you have to do ahead of time.
Yes.
You have to have that system where you go to a restaurant, you look outside, and it's like the vents that go all the way up the side of the building. You got to have the fire suppression system. If a fire breaks out, then all of a sudden the foam comes out, covers everything, and puts out the fire. You've got to have your ceilings fireproof. You've got to have fireproof around your walls so the fire doesn't extend. If you got tenants upstairs, then you can't have a fire break out and then burn up the upstairs. So you got to fireproof all your ceilings.
We run into that a lot in Bridgeport. We have a lot of people looking for restaurants, and above the restaurant is a 2-unit apartment. You have to be very careful. You have to make sure that that is at the property for you. You may want a standalone business.
So many times what we're saying is that we can guide you in the right direction, and if you're not guided in the right direction and someone's just trying to sell you something or lease you something, you could end up losing a lot of money.
Yes.
But I've had it, like I said, I've been in business for 37 years, almost 40 years. I've dealt with all types of
Seen it all.
businesses from you name it to, and I've had requests for all kinds of businesses, and we had one that we opened up. The woman cooked, she knew how to cook real good, so they bought a building. Remember, for the bakery, they were going to do baking in that particular building. You know, have a person who has construction business looking for parking for construction equipment. We put him in that particular business. A law office, a lawyer looking for a good location for exposure. We put her in that particular business.
Correct.
So we didn't put her in the business, but we found a building that she could benefit from having the business. Recently, we sold the Rumen House.
Oh, yes, yes.
In New Haven, Connecticut. Actually, that was a different type of situation where the church owned the Rumen House. And the church wanted to expand. And in order to expand, they had to sell the Rumen House to raise more money to put towards their new church.
Correct.
So in that particular situation, that was a unique situation because we had to find a unique buyer that wanted to buy a Rumen House and take over the current tenants. And it worked out quite well because it just so happened that the church sold the building, and one of the church deacons who was managing the building was retained by the new owner who came from New York to continue managing the building because he said, hey, you're familiar with the people that are here. They know you, and we can have you maintain the building. And it was also a unique situation where we helped out the community because this particular church had a social consciousness in which the people that were renting in the room in the house, some of them came from halfway houses, some of them came from the penal system, and they wanted to reach out a helping hand to help those people that could not normally find an apartment. And so therefore, it worked out for all. We try to accommodate a situation where everybody makes out.
Exactly. As my father was saying, we're here to help, and in those stories we were saying we also do commercials. Some people ask us, well, you guys do apartments, you do households, but we also do not only residential, we do commercial property also. So if you're looking to find a new location for your business, also definitely give us a call.
Exactly. Or in some cases, if you're looking to, sell your particular business, you don't have to sell the entire building, but maybe you want to sell the business because maybe where you started out, maybe the employees that you had have gone and to another, say, occupation, or maybe you're ready to retire and you want to sell that particular business. So we can help out with, whether it's a business, selling a business, relocating a business, finding you a new spot, and also put more than anything, pointing you in the right direction as to some of the government agencies that you have to, go and talk to. And it's getting a little easier because going back a year ago, remember, we couldn't even walk into the city halls. You couldn't even go in and get any information. Everything was done remotely.
During COVID, you couldn't even go to City Hall. You had to make an appointment to go to City Hall. So think about how many transactions that slowed down. But with COVID supposedly ending, things are kind of opening back up. We're seeing basically they're breathing life back into commercial. We're seeing a lot of calls on that.
Right. I had one particular instance where I had to get information from City Hall, and you called and you called and you called. No one picked up the phone. Yeah. It was like you needed an appointment to get in, and they put you through all kinds of security. And that was just to get in to ask a simple question pertaining to a building. And the only people that they were really letting in were attorneys. I remember one day I went there, I was all dressed up, and the guard was at the door, and he says, your name, and it says Scott, and he says, Attorney Scott, go ahead.
There you go.
And I says, oh, okay. I walked right in and sat down and, I started talking to the clerk. And so I said, hope they don't ask me any legal questions. Right? I'm in trouble. But, it worked. And it's not that I posed as an attorney. He just assumed I was an attorney. And
very true.
He let me in, and I went in, and
cut the line.
And I was able to go in. The other thing that's happened since we last spoke, I had the privilege, was it Saturday, to go to the soft opening of the East End Library.
Oh yes.
So that's a new item that we would talk about. It's been in the makings for years and years and years.
Very addition to the community is much needed.
New addition to the community. In the East End Library is now open. So for many of you out there, you have your children, it's a beautiful facility. I have to give credit to the people in the East End and the developer for putting together the East End Library. It's a wealth of knowledge going in there. You have the books, and even more important, you have a community room. In there, you have a beautiful community room. They had a ceremony there Saturday, which I attended, and one of the things that I was most impressed about is the computers, the computer rooms, and I've been harping on this over and over and over again. One of the problems that we have is computer literacy. Everything is geared towards computers.
Everything's technology.
If you want to rent an apartment, if you want to buy a house, no matter what you may do, you have to go online.
Yes, and more into that. some of these apartments, you need a computer, you need an internet connection, but you also need to be kind of tech savvy. They have apps you have to download, you have to upload your information. I mean, I talk to some customers, I say, I'm gonna send you this application in PDF format. They're like, who's PDF? I have to explain to them what a PDF is and how to exactly manipulate that file. So as you see, with people that are not becoming tech savvy are becoming a disadvantage when it comes to this market. But with this library opening, I'm glad they have a community room. People can sit down and actually learn how to use a computer.
And there's many computers there where you can go in and you know, getting back to even the computers, there's still a lot of people that don't have Wi-Fi.
Yes.
So you may have a computer, maybe they can't afford Wi-Fi, you know. I recently looked into getting, changing carriers and getting a phone for my mother, and how many hours was I on the phone?
Oh my goodness, you can't just get a phone, you have to get the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is the new running water.
That was an experience. I had to look at this carrier, that carrier, this carrier. What zip code are you in? Do we have Wi-Fi there? What cell phone service do we have there? This plan, that plan. I was pulling my hair out, and I said, wait, I'll come back and look at this again next week. And then I came back the next week, and then I was going around in circles, and I was talking to all these people in China who everything is off-sourced to China, and I was trying to deal with them and putting it together and remember the person I spoke. I said, how can the average person navigate through all of this to come to a conclusion as to which way they want to go? Exactly. I finally settled on a carrier, but that whole process took me about 3 weeks.
It did.
And I know halfway about the computers.
You're pretty savvy.
With your help.
Got my help. You're pretty good.
So the thing I'm saying is that the average person who's maybe in their senior years or hasn't had experience with a computer, and if many of you out there have not been savvy with computers, this is the coming age. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because a lot of these places do not let you walk in and sit down face to face.
Very true.
So with this library and with these computers, you can go in there and you could spend time in there and you can navigate all of the different things that you would want to do as far as computer. And they have also, I noticed in there, free fax machine. So, you know, even if you can't navigate through the computer, you just put the paper up there.
Yep, fax still exists in this day and
Put the
age.
telephone number, hit send, and you can fax them information. So again, that's what's there. It's with the East End Library. So many of you out there, you know, it's right across from the Raphael Taylor Community Center. So I want you to know, and see, like I said, we're here to give you some information and let you know one of the things. And there's a what is it, a grocery store that's also coming on Stratford Avenue in that area. So many things are coming. We give you an idea as places open up, some of the things that are available to you, and some of the ways in which, again, it can make your life a little better.
Yeah, we're here to help, like my father said. Right now, we're experiencing a low inventory. People always ask us, I want to see this house, I want to see that. They show me the house on Zillow, I go to check online, it's under contract. Because these houses are hitting the market, and just as fast as they're hitting the market, they're going under contract. And we're seeing that more and more now.
More and more, you know. As a thought was going through my head, I said, boy, we're out here to try and give you information to help you in your daily life. Too bad we don't know the lowest prices for gasoline in the city. We could direct you to that station, that station, save you some money, you know. Speaking of that, there is one thing.
It's on what we heard in the news.
About the
free buses.
Oh, yes.
Free buses right now in Bridgeport.
That's
throughout the state.
Throughout the state of Connecticut, Governor Ned Lamont has proclaimed that you can ride free on the buses.
Until July 1st.
Till July 1st. But how many people out there may not have known this, and you're just finding out from our TV station, Can We Talk?
That's good information right there.
That you can ride the buses for free. That means intercity. I saw it said intercity and also interstate.
Oh, that's right, Massachusetts.
You got that? What is it? What's that called? Where you can get on the bus and go up to Hartford and all that.
It's called Fast Pass.
Fast Track or
Fast Track, yes.
Fast Track busing. And so you could actually get on the bus now, go downtown, get on the bus, ride around for free. I said, I'd like to take a sightseeing tour. Get on this bus, this bus, get a transfer. I remember the old days, you get a transfer, you go all over you drive, ride all up and down the city. So that's something you just heard from us on this program.
Yes.
There's another thing you might not be aware of, and that's that the governor, he did away with the state tax on gasoline,
yes.
25 cents off. So there's two major things right there that can affect your life in the state of Connecticut. You got 25 cents off every gallon for gasoline. You got free buses that you can ride around on without having to pay. And look at how much money in many cases, if you get out of your house, get on the bus, and then get out in front of your employer, look at how much money you're saving there.
Exactly.
So as we hear things during the week,
we try to get it to you as soon as
we're going to
possible.
get it to you on Can We Talk, so that it can affect and save your life. The more money you have, the more money that you have that you can save up.
For a down payment.
For down payment on that dream house.
Exactly.
So again, we're here to give you some information. Maybe you want to put something out there.
In closing, just want to say, we're here to help. We're here weekly. But you also can follow us on Facebook also. We're here, just type in Tri-State Realty anywhere on Google. We're there. We're on TikTok too. We got to get him dancing soon. We'll have some skits. But yeah, we're here to help the community, Bridgeport, Connecticut, and beyond. And even though we're mentioning Bridgeport stuff, that's where we're local, our local, but we're here to help everybody.
Yes, we're in New Haven, we're in Bridgeport, and also we're in Stamford. So we're throughout the entire area, Waterbury, Norwalk, Stamford. So it doesn't make any difference anywhere throughout the state. We're centrally located.
And the state's small enough, we're showing houses everywhere.
We can help you and help you, get into something so you can build some equity. That's what some of our programs are going to be about in the future. You just showed me an article before we came to the studio today, and what did it say?
It says your house makes more money than you.
And I said, that's 100% right. Your house makes more money than you. Your hands can only go so fast.
Yes.
The hands can only go so fast, production. But the equity building up in that real estate, if they bought a house, let's say 10 years ago for $100,000 and now it's worth $300,000, your hands didn't make no $200,000.
Yeah, it's faster than you could save too.
Faster than you can save. So just think about that. That's what we're trying to get you in, wealth building. We got to get into wealth building, and we're going to get into some programs where you can do something where you can hand it down to your family, to your children.
Yes, generational wealth.
So that you cannot, we're on this earth for so long. We do our toils, and that let's leave some of it for future generations.
Make a difference.
And make a difference.
Yes.
Again, I'm Charles Scott Sr.
I'm Charles Scott Jr.
And we're here to talk to you. And Can We Talk? That's the name of our program. Until next week, God bless and shalom. Peace.